Okay, in this video we're gonna dig up a little tree over here in Stacy and Mike's ditch, and it's kind of down a little embankment, so gotta back the tractor to the edge of that embankment and try to get in position where we can use the backhoe and dig this little tree out. It's not a huge tree, but you know, it's not a teeny tiny little tree either. Not something that I could cut with the bush hog brush cutter. I got a steel brush cutter, and I've been cutting some stuff with that, but this is a little bit big for that, so we're just going to go ahead and try to push this thing on over with the backhoe. And as you can see over on the right, that's the embankment. Doesn't really show up in the video just how much of a drop off it is, but it is a little bit of a drop off. And anytime I get on the side of a hill with the tractor, I do tend to get a little nervous. Now we're just going to get the bucket down slightly, take a little bit of the weight off the front, get on the back and let the outriggers down, and we are right on the edge of this hill. It doesn't really look like it from the angle of this camera, but that's actually a drop. And you can see the drop a little bit better from right here. And the tree kind of pushes on over pretty easy. It was actually two roots, probably about 3/4 of the size of the base of that tree, maybe a little smaller, that was holding it. One was on the left and one is right on the right. So right here we're just kind of pulling some of that dirt back and try not to disturb too much, because we got a riffraff rock over on the right, because this is a drainage ditch and I don't really want to mess that up. So right there I got a hold to the root. You can see it moving the whole tree up. And you can see the whole tractor moving, and it's actually pulling the tractor down the hill. So I'm just basically trying to move some of that soil off the top and loosen those roots up without pulling myself down the side of that hill. Yeah, right here I got a hold to the root that's on the right hand side, and you can see it, you'll see it pop up out of there in a minute when I break it in half. And I'm just kind of trying to do this without tearing up the ground all the way around it. Ideally I would have went out about 2 feet away from that tree and dug a little bit out there, and not really worried about breaking the root in half, just kind of pulled it out. But we got it now. And try to push some of this dirt back in the hole a little bit. Now right here you can see the tractor start rolling down the hill, so I got a little nervous. I didn't want to roll down that hill, so I went on and put the bucket down on the ground and started raising these outriggers up, and then I raised the one up closest to the camera all the way up, and then I got to thinking, well, maybe I better leave them things kind of fanned out just in case. And I forgot to put the tractor in four-wheel drive, so sitting on the edge of this hill, I figured, well, I better put this thing in four-wheel drive, and then I'll have the front wheels pulling me, which I try to keep it in two-wheel drive as much as possible. So we got it in four-wheel drive now, raising up the bucket a little bit. And now we're going to drive forward and raise the back bucket up as we put a little pressure on the hydrostatic pedal. And now we're in the safety zone now, so I can go ahead and get them riggers up, and right here I'm just going to go ahead and pull forward and lower the bucket and raise the front end up so I can take it back out of four-wheel drive. I don't like to drive this thing around in four-wheel drive. It's really hard on the tires. Pavement's hard on tires on tractors anyway, even if it's not in four-wheel drive. But when it's in four-wheel drive, it's brutal. We're going to get back in position here. Knock some of that mud out. That thing really sunk down on that hill. And right here, we're just going to try to get this tree a little closer to us so that we can pick it up. And if this tree was much bigger than this, I wouldn't move the tree this way because I don't like moving trees with the backhoe. But this tree's kind of small, so not a lot of weight there, so we'll just go ahead and move it like this. Plus, I don't have that far to move it. I'm knocking the dirt off the other outrigger. Now we'll just go ahead and drop a tree off right here so we can get on the other side of it and move it. This is when it'd be nice to have a 4-in-1 bucket or a grapple or something, but since I don't have one, I'm just letting the bucket push that stump part of it up into the woods a little bit, and then we're going to back up and get in position to kind of push the whole thing back there. And you have to be careful when you're doing a maneuver like this because the radiator on these things aren't very protected, and if the you know, if you drive it, one of them sticks into the radiator. So you can see that stick sticking up on the top of the bucket right there. That's why I backed up. Got that to go inside the bucket. Now I can see pretty good that there's nothing up in there. Like I said, this was a really small tree, so it wasn't a huge concern. Just kind of pushing it up in the woods now. I try to go slow on the tractor. I try not to be in no hurry, and I just kind of try to take my time and relax and enjoy the tractor and try to work it within its, you know, within its capabilities. Now, if I'd had to dig that tree out with a pick and a shovel, I'd still be over there dilly-dallying around with it. And it might not would have pulled out with a chain very easy, you know, strapping a chain to the tractor or a truck or something, trying to jerk it out, because the two big roots that were on there were, you know, pretty good sized roots, and they were down in the ground pretty good. It did help that it was kind of wet right there, so if it had been dried out, it probably wouldn't have came out as easy as it did. I'm gonna load up my stuff in the bucket, and this part of the job is done. It's always fun to get out there and do something. This was just something that I did for my neighbor on the spur of the moment, and it's always nice to be able to help folks. Appreciate you watching my channel. Hope you enjoyed my video. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them below.